Hello, everyone. This is Inez. I would like to share a personal story with you. 41 years ago, I had graduated from Middlesex High School. And in doing so, as time went on, I had, like so many others, had misplaced my class ring. I looked high and low. I could not find that ring. So I just kind of gave up on it at the time. Well, recently, I had been thinking again on that ring. It had just been crossing my mind. And I've been just wondering, whatever happened to my class ring? Well, on yesterday, I received a call from another person who had attended Middlesex High School as well. Her name was Sandra Collier. Now, most of us who have gone to Middlesex High School know Sandra Collier. But if you don't know Sandra, surely living in Middlesex County, you do know her father, Earl Collier, who had the mom and pop store out there next to the courthouse. How could you not forget that German bologna? It was the best bologna in town. Well, Sandra Collier had gotten in contact with me on behalf of the person who now had possession of my class ring. And his name was Mr. Gene Brooks. So Sandra was asking me, had I lost anything? And she was proceeding to tell me that they had found my class ring. Well, this was news to me. It was like, my God, it's like unbelievable. Oh my God, it's like I was really at a loss for words because I was just so happy. I had been thinking on that ring recently as to the whereabouts. Where could that ring have been? Where is that ring? So 41 years later, my ring turns up 41 years later. So I was able to get in contact with Mr. Gene Brooks. And in doing so, we agreed to meet. Upon meeting Mr. Brooks, I was just so happy. It's like I'd known him all of my life. We sat at the kitchen table, and he told me to look on the elephant's trunk there, and there in front of me was the ring. I was just so happy. It's just touched me. I was just so happy. When my eyes saw that ring and my hands picked it up and touched it, it was like, oh my God. I was just so grateful. I was just so thankful for the ring. I'm thankful for Mr. Brooks and safekeeping my ring. And he began to relate that story to me of how he came in possession to the ring. He had told me that a gentleman had found an old sofa that was thrown out on the dumps, And he was just running his hands through the sofa. And out comes this ring. Well, he took the ring to Mr. Brooks's store. And he wanted to sell the ring. And so they asked him, the gentleman in the store, and as well as Mr. Brooks asked him, well, how much do you want for the ring? And he says, I just want $25. I'm just trying to get some beer. That's all. I'm just trying to get some beer. So upon hearing that, Mr. Brooks just couldn't pass that up. He bought the ring. And that was back in 1982. So from 1982 until this present day, October the 20th, 2017, Mr. Brooks had my ring in his possession, in his safe. He was adamant about trying to find me. And he had gotten together with Sandra Collier, and she was able to look me up, and she went immediately on Facebook. Thank God for Facebook. And she saw that I had been on Facebook just 2 days ago. And she said, there she is. She just been on Facebook 2 days ago. And so they were able to look me up. And they also went through the yearbook. Mr. Brooks wanted to see who I was, So they got a yearbook so that he could see exactly who it was if someone was to inquire about this ring. And you had to, give this ring up. So anyway, it was just such a heartwarming reunion when I laid my eyes on this ring and was be able to touch this ring. I was just so happy. I was just really happy. And I just thank God for people like Mr. Brooks and Samuel Collier, and whose heart was in the right place. They wanted to do the right thing. And I even thank God for the young man who initially found the old sofa out on the dumps and ran his hands through it and took it to Mr. Brooks' store. I thank God for that young man. I believe that God had a hand in this. God had to have his hand in his 41 years. Huh? How likely are you to find something after 41 years that you have lost or misplaced? I thank God also for the lady who was, I believe Mr. Brooks was saying that she was a jeweler and that she was able to read the inscription that was in my ring. And I had put my name, my first name, my initial, and my last name in my ring. And so she wrote it down for Mr. Brooks. And you know what? I believe I could tell. I could tell with my own eyes and my mind and my heart, my whole soul, that Mr. Brooks was just as happy or happier in seeing me get that ring back. Mr. Brooks was just as happy or happier than I was. He was happy, I believe, because he knew in his heart he was doing the right thing. And then, you know what? I could tell that he wanted to do the right thing. So I thank God for him. My message would be to hold on. Don't give up. God is working things out. This is a moment, a time of restoration. And I was talking to my son, and I was telling him about it. I said, you're not going to believe this, but somebody has found my ring, my high school ring, after 41 years. And you know what he texts me back? He says, Mom, he said, God is restoring everything back unto you. And I had to think on that. So wait a minute. I said, you know what? I said, that boy's right. I said, 41 years. 41 years. What is the likelihood of you finding something after 41 years that you've lost? Well, God is able to do all things exceedingly abundantly than what we could ever think. God is able to do it. There's nothing too hard for God. God has a specific time for you to come back into possession of those things which you may have lost. Those things which may have been taken away from you. God has a specific time for those things to be restored back unto you. And I truly believe that. This was a moment that gave me a continued hope and trust and faith and belief. It strengthened me. In other words, it strengthened me to hold on just a little while longer. Everything, I believe, is going to be all right. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to put my faith and trust in God and let Him work things out on my behalf. I believe He can do that. If He done it for me, I believe that He can do it for you. I'm just saying to you today, put your faith and trust in God. Don't worry about the things that you lost. God can restore them back unto you. Don't worry about the things that was taken away from you unjustly. Don't worry about those things. God can restore those things back unto you. Just keep the faith. Once again, I want to thank everyone who was involved in seeing that I was able to get my ring back. This here is the ring that was lost after 41 years. After 41 years. After 41 years. And you know what I told Mr. Brooks? I said, Mr. Brooks, I believe I see a little sparkle in there. After 41 years. She still got a little shine in there, a little sparkle. I thank God for it. I thank God for it. I thank God for it. Be encouraged, people. Know that God is still working on your behalf. He hasn't given up on you. God has not given up on you. And don't give up on yourself. Be blessed.